Coach Clay here. I've been running bases loaded baseball and softball school for 2 decades. And the question I get most from parents is whether their player should pursue or accept a travel ball opportunity. Okay, to answer that question, we need to look at a few things before we even consider whether your player is capable or skilled enough to thrive in a travel environment. The first is your player's desire or passion for the game. If you've been playing league ball maybe for a couple years, and every time you get home from practice or games, your kid's begging you to get outside and do more. If your kid's begging to go to a hitting camp, a hitting class, or get outside and play with his buddies and continue to play ball even after practices and games, you have a player that probably has the desire or passion that can take on the travel experience. The other thing that needs to be considered is what you're going to be giving up. Travel ball will require your player to be at practices more than once a week. Often, travel coaches will have practices that run several hours. Not something I recommend at an early age, but it's a long time to be on the field 2-3 times a week. You're going to be giving up entire weekends, right, at these tournaments. So Saturday and Sunday, every week, every other week are going to be gone, and they're going to be spent at the ballpark. Is your player going to be happy being there? Is your player going to be missing other things? You always want to make sure that your player is maybe not always having the best time, because there's going to be some failure, there's going to be some hardship, but that's always excited about the game, always excited about opportunity to go practice, always excited about the opportunity to go play. You may be asking why you should even consider travel ball. Is it beneficial for your child as a player and for their development? Well, the fact of the matter is travel ball is going to be better for your player's development most of the time, just for the fact that your player will play so much more ball. They will throw the ball, they will catch the ball, they will hit the ball so much more. And the more you hit, the better you get. The more you play catch, the better your arm, the better your glove. And if you go out to practice with a travel team where everybody's fairly proficient with their glove, fairly proficient with their bat, you can practice for an hour with a travel team and get a ton of good touches. And just that hour of practice with a travel team is probably going to be 5 to 10 times more valuable than, say, an hour practice with a rec team where you may have 12 kids out there and only 4 or 5 of them are proficient with the glove. If you think about a rec team that has 10 practices over the course of a 15-game season, and those practices run an hour, hour and a half. And then you think of a travel practice that you'll probably get 20, 30, maybe 40 practices in over the course of a spring and a summer. Just the practice time in the travel team versus the practice time in the league team, 20, 30 times more productive in the travel environment and then in the league environment. Now, can that deficiency in practice for a league player be overcome? Well, somewhat, if that player is highly motivated, if he's seeking out opportunities to play ball outside of recreational practice and recreational games. Maybe he's doing private small group training, going to a lot of camps and clinics. He has friends or family that live close that are constantly throwing the ball with him. Maybe he has older siblings or cousins that he's invited to play with on a regular basis that are good players and that can challenge him. You're not completely dead if you're just playing the rec ball as far as your growth and meeting your potential, but it's going to be much more challenging in that recreational league environment. The other benefit of travel is just the games, right? So if you take a coach pitch, 7-year-old or 8-year-old recreational league, right? You've got 3 or 4 players on each team that are pretty good. Then you have some beginners, as is expected in a recreational league. You might play 3 or 4 inning game in the rec league, and half those innings could be dedicated to just watching the beginner strike out or tap the ball out to the pitcher. And of course, the pitcher can make the play and throw to first, and your 2 best players are getting some work. But the rest of the team really isn't seeing how the game sort of works and how it moves with base runners and balls hit to the outfield and force plays and tag plays. Whereas if you go to a travel game, you're going to play 3 or 4 innings, maybe 5 or 6 innings, depending on how good the defense is. But in those innings, every inning is going to be full of action. And so the players in those travel games are all of a sudden developing their baseball or softball IQ, seeing how the game moves, seeing how to throw balls ahead of runners, when to be tagged, when to use the force play. And so you're just growing leaps and bounds in that travel game experience as opposed to the rec league game experience. Now we move on to kid pitch. So in a travel environment, you're going to have pitchers, especially the best couple pitchers on each team that are consistently throwing strikes, which will lead to some hit batted balls. It'll definitely improve your player's ability at the plate because they're going to constantly see strikes to swing at. If you play a travel game at 9 or 10, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 at bats. If you're in rec league, there's going to be a lot of pitchers that can't throw strikes. So while you may get 2 or 3 plate appearances, you may walk all of those times up. You may draw a walk. You may get hit by a pitch, and you may post 0 at bats in half the games you play. So 14 rec games, you may come away with 10 to 15 at bats. Whereas you could go to a 9 to 10-year-old travel tournament, play 5 games over the course of a weekend, and get 10 plus at bats. This is really the reason why parents at a certain time in their child's experience, baseball or softball experience, really feel the need to look outside at some of these travel opportunities. Is it the right time for your player to be playing travel ball? Is it going to benefit them in the now? Or should we stay with league ball for another year or 2 before moving on to that travel opportunity? You need to consider whether your player is good enough, has the skills to thrive in a travel environment. When you look at players, I feel like we can grade out players on a school grading scale. You have your A players. If you put them on a league team, they're going to be the best player. And if not the best player on that league team, they'll be one of the 2 best players on their league team. These guys, no question, they can join a travel team. They're probably going to have a lot of invitations to join travel teams. They're going to continue to be, one of the better players, whatever team they play on. If we're looking at a B player usually does 2 of the 4 things really, really well. And again, you're looking at hitting, you're looking at fielding, you're looking at athleticism. I sort of put speed into that, and you're looking at baseball IQ. So your kid may be a great hitter. Your kid may just be super athletic and fast. Well, in that case, the travel ball is probably going to be very good for him. A players, B players, if you can rate your kids out and they have all the 4 tools or just a couple of them really sound, you're going to be fine. We start to get to C players. C players really don't excel at any of the 4 tools. They're usually deficient in one. So you might be an okay hitter. You might be know the game a little. Might be decently fast, but not overly so. And maybe you just don't catch real well. They'll be able to get better. But again, they're going to have to deal with not getting a chance at some of the more primary positions where kids love to play and where a lot of the action is. You might be down in the lineup. You might be one of the first to sit. If you have a D player, which means they're really deficient in probably 2 areas of the game, are the areas of the game that your kid's lacking going to make it a miserable experience, put the player's health and safety, at risk? So if your kid cannot catch and they're 9 or 10 and they want to join a travel team where some of these kids will be throwing the ball across the field, or even in just warm-up drills, your kid's going to have to catch a ball that's 50 miles an hour right their face, that may not be a wise move. That may be something like you have to address the glove before you're ready to step in the travel experience. Even if your kid's an amazing hitter or a super fast runner, if they are just completely deficient in 2 of these skills, and maybe one's the glove where it's going to put them in danger, or again, is it going to be so frustrating that the kid hates going to practice, hates going to games, killing his confidence? Bottom line is, if your kid's got the passion and desire to play the game, and they're not going to mind giving up a few things that allows travel to fit into their schedule, they're an A or a B player, go for it. If they're a C or a D player, but they have some grit and you're not putting their safety at risk, find the best travel opportunity you can, give it a shot, commit for a season, commit for a year, and see how it goes. Good travel experiences can be hugely beneficial for your players' growth and development. And unfortunately, there are some bad travel experiences out there, but we can use those to learn. We can use those to grow. We can deal with the adversity. So use those experiences to help us judge and assess future opportunities. I hope this has helped. If you're in this situation where you're considering travel ball or considering re-entering the travel environment. If you like this content, like this video, subscribe. There's more videos to come. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and we'll hopefully see you down the road.